Welcome to Colney, where Alec Neil and Cameron Jerome have spoken to us and spoke pretty well. In Paddy, I always think it's a difficult situation, this, because there's much talking as they do. We're really waiting for tomorrow, aren't we? But what did you make of all that this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just happened, so you probably have to go and just sort of process what we've heard. But, words like, it was honest, every question asked, some uncomfortable questions asked, and they basically gave what I felt were honest answers. Now, obviously, as we've seen, the fallout from Brighton, there's a percentage, and some will say it's growing, who are basically done with Alex Neil and think, it's time to make a change. So it doesn't matter what I'd imagine the manager says to that constituency, that they're not going to buy it. But I think also the majority of fans are still willing to give him time to turn it round, and I would have thought would be encouraged by what they've heard from him and Cameron Jerome. I mean, ultimately they know wasn't good enough, but it sounds like they are ready to put in a performance against Leeds on Saturday. As you rightly say, that's really the only barometer. We've heard what we wanted to hear today, but it's really what happens Saturday afternoon. But it was good. It was obviously the first proper chance to speak about the events, not just during the game at Brighton, but obviously the Russell Martin interview, which triggered so many questions about cliques and fractures in dressing rooms, and both of them categoric. No, it's just the emotion of the occasion. The thing that immediately sprung to my mind was the quote from Russell Martin about accusing certain teammates of giving up. Well, that was basically what Alex Neil had already told him before Russell Martin emerged from the dressing room. So in that sense, the captain was really repeating what the manager had come out with. So that was an accusation put from the manager rather than the captain's took it on himself to maybe break ranks. So I found that was quite illuminating.
And it was almost like the Brendan Rodgers envelope thing, wasn't it? It wasn't really specific people who apparently gave up. It was just generally a few people gave up, which kind of made the situation awkward. That was kind of how it was trying to be almost rephrased by Alec Neil. I got the sense the way he was putting it. He did come up with this line about that Norwich basically got complacent in the last week or two, which I thought was quite a startling thing to say, and obviously quite a hard thing to pick up on during the time.
It is, because I think he then went on to elaborate that it's hard to sort of, after Fulham, for example, they're 2-0 up and doing what they need to do, and then the wheels have just come off in the second half. So immediately after that game, it's very hard then, given it came off the back of Manager of the Month awards and 7 wins out of 8 and everything's rosy in the garden, to then immediately pinpoint out his complacency. But I think he's now clearly the watershed result at Brighton. He's really looked at the 4 games in their entirety, and that's the conclusion he's reached, that subconsciously a few of these players maybe got into a bit of a comfort zone, and he was keeping the same side week in, week out, injury permitting, obviously, and maybe that's spread a little bit of an attitude that we just need to turn up here most weeks now and we'll do the business. But brutally shaken out of that misconception and culminating in Brighton, which was unacceptable on many levels. So yeah, that's how he seems to be packaging this downturn, that it was a complacent mindset that spread throughout the squad, and I don't think we'll be seeing complacency against Leeds.
We better not do. Cameron Jerome did speak well, as you mentioned earlier. He ruled out this idea that the group of players weren't tired. I mean, they're all things he had to say, I suppose, and ultimately the proof in the pudding will be on the pitch, won't it? But he did speak well, and you have to trust to a degree what he's saying.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. I mean, I'm sure that is the case. I'm sure that is the case. As I say, I mean, we're now sat here 5-6 days on, with a lot of distance between the events at Brighton. Literally those interviews and that reaction and those sound bites were within 15-20 minutes of the final whistle, when they have basically down tools. They've basically surrendered, raised the white flag, whatever phrases you want to apply, unacceptable from professional footballers. And I think it was the shock of that's clearly produced the post-match reaction from Mezzers, Neil and Martin, and things will have been said, and things were raw, and emotions were running high, and I think with the benefit of a bit of distance now, and they've been able to more or less have a free week, in the sense that it hasn't been a midweek game. So I think Cameron Jerome referenced that a couple of days ago, that it's actually the first probably chance for a while for them to actually do a bit of training, and a manager to re-emphasise some of the key messages he wants to get across. But yeah, they're hardly going to come out and say there are major divisions amongst that group of players, because ultimately, if there are, then that will translate itself into what we see on the pitch, and you have to say up to Brighton, okay, yeah, they didn't do what they needed to do against Preston and Fulham and Leeds in the Cup, but it was Brighton really. Brighton is the one where that discourse, if you like, has come from, that the result was so poor and the performance was so bad that clearly people are looking for reasons why that is the case, and obviously, as I say, fueled by the captain coming out and accusing teammates of giving up. It doesn't look good, does it? But Alex Neil again just stressed that he believes that there is a group within this club, players, management, all on the same page, and they all want the same thing, and they want the same thing as the fans, and that is success and to get this club back up out of this division and into the one above. I mean, just reference another point, talking about the complacency, he also talked about the intensity had dropped off as well, and to my mind that has been the noticeable thing in this 4 games, is that they're so passive with the ball. We all know how they want to dominate midfield and more or less pin teams back with their possession and camp in opposition halves, but against good teams, the Brightons of this world, they've just been so predictable and so lacking in tempo, and I'm glad to hear him say that this afternoon, that he thinks the intensity has been a major issue, and that's what I want to see, because we know, and we keep hearing it, and that Russell Martin I think mentioned it, that we keep hearing we're Premier League class players, or we're technically as good as any squad in this division, and the manager sat here in that very seat you're sitting in, Michael, and said if you don't match the intensity of these teams, if you don't match the work rate and the effort and the desire, it doesn't matter that you're technically better players, you won't get results, or you won't get enough results to get to where you need to go. So it just sounds like there's been a major wake-up call, and but as I say, everything we've said so far is going to be irrelevant if they turn in another performance like they did at Brighton, and ultimately the difference is this will be at home in front of 20-odd thousand of their own fans who will see with their own eyes and deliver their own verdict.
And I think it was noticeable from Cam that he knows that they need a fast start. They can't rely on necessarily the crowd to come to Carrow Road on Saturday and just deliver a load of support from the off. I think they know that they need a fast start. The fundamentals, according to Alec Neil, were pass the ball to a yellow shirt, get the ball back as quickly as you can when you lose it, and don't give up. I'd have just loved to have had something about scoring goals in there, but maybe that's just me being glib. Most of the chatter was about the Brighton game and the reflection from that, of course, but there was a little bit of team news. Ivo Pinto's not going to make it, which is a bit of a blow. Other than that, I guess we're expecting to see Louis Thompson in midfield. Yeah,
I think that's a fair call, given Tete suspended. And again, Alex Neil, straight after that game, probably underlining completely what the point we're trying to make here, is that immediately after that game, it was, I've given these players too many chances, that's enough now, major personnel changes. 5-6 days on, as you say, he's more or less got the same lads he had to pick from last Saturday that he's got this weekend. Pinto out, Whittaker, Malumbu, Jarvis not fit for consideration in terms of their fitness levels. So his room for manoeuvre, Tete suspended obviously, so that room for manoeuvre is slightly constricted. So whereas post-match Brighton, he would like to maybe have changed all 11 players, I think the reality is he's going to be hamstrung by what he can do and what he can't do. And if, for example, Pinto is out tomorrow, then you would think there's not too much he can do different with that back four. So the keeper's obviously a different debate. But yeah, I don't think it's so much now about changing personnel. It is, as we say, the mindset. If the mindset is good and they realise that where they want to get to in this division is going to take a lot of hard work and not just turning up and expecting a sense of entitlement almost, then I think things can turn around, because it's been shown, hasn't it? I mean, he's gone from manager of the month to questions about his future. That has, in the space of a month, that's how quick things can turn. So there's no reason why it can't go in an upward curve, but it's going to need a collective effort, and that includes the fans as well, because as I said to him, heaven forbid Leeds will score first tomorrow, or Norwich are very sluggish from the off, then you don't want the crowd to turn into quite a toxic atmosphere. And if you do, then you're going to need your strong characters on the pitch, because it's going to be quite a trial. But ultimately, that's the rod they've made for themselves. If you play like you did at Brighton, then you deserve to be scrutinised. And so it's going to be, for a lot of reasons, a very interesting afternoon, I think.
It is indeed. You'll be able to follow it all with us, pinkun.com/live, and the various things going on the website before and after the game. Of course, we'll see how it pans out, won't we, Pad? I hope you appreciate longer video than normal, but probably necessary. We'll see you on the other side.